What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into another awesome YouTube thumbnail creation video. Alright, so as we jump into this content, you guys, it's going to be a short 17 to 18 minute video of me creating this awesome thumbnail here. Now, I will be creating multiple thumbnails from the overall same design, and I will use this same process throughout this entire series of the Deathly Hallows. That is the Deathly Hallows from the Harry Potter series. We are making the three brothers. Now, that is one of the tales from the Tales of Beetle the Bard. That is like a sub-book of, or a separate book from the Harry Potter universe. Now, in that Deathly Hallows Part 1 movie, we saw a depiction of the three brothers and their Deathly Hallows. One of them, of course, was the Elder Wand, the Stone of Resurrection, as well as the Invisibility Cloak. And in this content that we're making specifically for this thumbnail is the Elder Wand and the older brother. Now, I did try to honor at least some of the reference photos or the images and the still lifes that I had taken from the actual movie content itself. So I kind of videotaped that and tried to take it and run with it as closely to the reference material as possible. I interjected my own kind of color scheme a little bit into it, but for the most part, I tried to honor that whole sepia watercolor effect type of look that it had in the movies. So as you can see, I have removed the background from my portrait there, or the picture that I have taken there of me, myself, and I, and that awesome brother. And what we're going to do here is we're going to actually increase the overall hue and saturation quite a bit here. We're also going to lower the brightness, and I'll tinker with this throughout the process. We're going to go ahead and get rid of the background. Now, that is a background that I had made for a previous thumbnail creation video, and that will be coming out here soon. And that is where I am making a template of a thumbnail kind of generic background that has a lot of wording on it. So a lot of my thumbnails don't have tons of wording on it, but that is a different style of thumbnail. You'll be able to find that hopefully here soon on my YouTube thumbnail creation playlist here on my YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe, like, and you can check out that video at the very end of this. I will link that playlist also. So what we're doing here is we've removed the entire background here, and it's a very simplistic overall thumbnail, but we're going to make sure that we get the saturation the way that we need it. We don't want to make me cherry red, but we also want to make sure that that overall paint scheme on the watercolor is very vibrant. And now although I didn't paint it that golden, that vibrant when I painted the painting, I want to make sure that it pops when people are scrolling through YouTube. This is a YouTube thumbnail creation content video, not just of me actually making the artwork, right? So in doing so, I want to make sure that the image that I post on the thumbnail in contrast to the actual background, which will be a black background, really has a great contrast, and it really is eye-popping. Now, I really imagine a lot of people using the dark mode of YouTube when they're looking through some of these thumbnails, and I'm hoping that it pops well against the background. So having a little bit of contrasted black background as well as that bright forward-facing image really draws the eye into the thumbnail, and then hopefully it leads their eyes down to the actual title, which would lead them into this kind of like hand-painted watercolor Harry Potter content. So I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate and add a separate layer of the same painting here. Now, same image, we've erased everything except for the actual painting itself. I'll make sure to use the straight line tool here, so we'll get these angles as close to the outside edges of the painted water paper as possible. So it takes a few times. Sometimes it doesn't give me a straight line when I do that, where I make the line, touch it on the Procreate software, and then it makes a straight line. And I have to do it a few times for that to take. But I'm not going to just remove that content just because it's inconvenient to upload it. It's part of the process, and we're going to just throw that in there. So I also accidentally used the painting tool instead of the erase tool, so I have to go back and erase that paint marks. And that was a black paint layer there. So now we have an independent picture away from the clipboard and the actual tape that's holding it to said clipboard. And what we're going to do is we're going to tinker with the saturation on this as well. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and select the tool that did nothing. This is me just tinkering with some tools, and we are going to skip over this. Now I did, however, include a few of these features here. Sometimes I'll come in here and I'll try to find the feature that I'm looking for and just tinker around with the layers and some of the added picture modification tools. And what I was really trying to do is I was trying to bleach out the overall painting that I had created of the elder brother and the elder one, as well as death. And I wanted to make this a black and white picture. So what I had did is I forgot to take a picture of me of the actual sketched image on the watercolor paper before I actually painted it. My mistake, but it's not the end of the world. I really want something a little bit more standoutish as opposed just to the generic sketch that I had originally put on the canvas or the watercolor paper. So it's very translucent. It's not easy to see on the paper. So what we're going to do instead here is I'm going to use that uploaded image of this completely finished, and I will just go ahead and reduce the overall saturation until it's non-existent. So we're going to take away all of its color and we're going to make this look like it's hand drawn. So that way the overall thumbnail and image still has a lot of detail, a lot of pop to it, and you can actually see the image. You still kind of also tell what the reference photo is, what it's coming from, and it has a lot of character to it. Now I need to find the perfect combination of brightness here to make sure that it's not too faded but not too dark either. I need to make it look like it's almost a pencil sketch, even if it's not an original of the reference that I had for that content video for the thumbnail that we're making. And then we can kind of make that layer disappear, and you can kind of see the original layer, how like diluted it is, but I didn't want to add too much brightness to it. I want them to look well all together, and I don't want it to be too bright. So although we are increasing the saturation on that for the painting thumbnail of that watercolor, we want to make sure that it just has a good golden neutral contrast without it really destroying my skin and making me all pink. So as we kind of like transition here, I did a little bit of tinkering here and there, just trying to see if I can get the perfect like brightness there. I tried some different tools and really wasn't feeling where it was going, so I did crop a little bit out of the content. Now what I'm doing is I'm using that overlaid image there. I'm just kind of making sure I size that perfectly for the actual clipboard masking tape that is holding the completed watercolor sketch there. So we're just using the same image of me, myself, the clipboard, and so forth, and we're just overlaying the same image in a completely desaturated version of it, so that it looks like it's a hand-drawn item there. Just kind of a life hack to create this two images or two thumbnails from the same overall upload. You're just duplicating that layer and then just readjusting the color, saturation, and brightness. It's pretty easy, but it's just a little life hack. If you're creating thumbnails out there on your own, then you can use these tips and tricks to kind of just create really fast thumbnails, make them eye-popping, and then get them out there. When you're creating 3 or 4 or 5 videos a week, sometimes depending on the mediums that you're putting into the actual art channel, which is in my case, I can be creating 2 or 3 uploads a week and then just spacing those out over time. One of them may be a drawing, one of them may be a painting, one of them may be a digital YouTube thumbnail upload like this one. And creating all those thumbnails does take a bit of time, and normally it takes me under an hour, but in some cases I could be working on it for multiple sessions over different days as I upload new images. Or I could be sitting on the same picture that I've taken at the beginning of the process, and then I could just be uploading that later on after I have the project completely finished. So it all depends on when I get to it and where we are along the process when an item gets uploaded into the system. So what we're doing here is now we're going to adjust the saturation again, just tinkering with different features here. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that it doesn't I want to make sure it feels uniform. So we're going to do a few zoom outs and zoom ins until I really get happy with the brightness here. And this is just that perfect medium. If you zoom out and you just don't feel like it's there, like it's eye-popping enough, you may have to zoom back in or zoom back out and then readjust it a little bit until you really get happy with it. As you create more thumbnails, as I have learned, you'll find your own style. Just like you find your own style when you're creating art, you'll do the same thing when you're creating thumbnails. Now, I create a lot of different types of mediums, as I just stated before, and some series will have different types of thumbnails. So you see a little bit of all sorts of things here on my channel. And hopefully you get to see a little bit of variety of different types of thumbnail creations as well. Some of them will have like general backgrounds and wording. Some of them will be high saturation. Some of them will be multiple layers. Some of them will be super simple. And you find a little bit of everything. There are a lot of people out there who really make very intense thumbnails, and they're really over cluttered and kind of chaotic. That's not really what I want to go for. My goal with a lot of my thumbnails is to create a uniform kind of thumbnail that can be casted throughout an entire playlist. So all of the playlists would have the same general style. So even if they are being viewed separately on YouTube or in just the video tab of my YouTube account or a profile, then you can kind of see, ooh, those go together, that one goes together, and so forth. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a Gauge-on blur effect. Now, I'm going to go ahead and create this a few different times. I'm going to tinker with the color combination and see if I can get the overall color that I like. And this takes a little bit of trial and error. I use a Gauge-on blur like halo effect very often in a lot of my thumbnail creation videos, and you'll see it over and over and over again throughout the entire process and series on my playlist. So you'll see me sometimes combine different colors or do double layered effects and things like that. And you'll usually just see me just pick a color that really contrasts well between my reference in the picture here and the background. Sometimes you want to bring eyes to the image you have uploaded, or you want to kind of like set things back or create hard edges or create multiple colors to kind of create separation and isolation of pictures. But a lot of times it's just trying to create a nice soft edge. And you just have to find this perfect medium between what you like to create in your thumbnail. And sometimes you just have to adapt to the image that you have. When I upload the painting version of this thumbnail, I want it to have a nice golden glow, so it just really eye pops when people are scrolling through YouTube. So in that type of situation, what we're going to do is we're just going to try to create a nice yellow golden halo here. But the black background will still be visible through that a little bit. Now you can also lower the opacity of the Gauge-on blur if you want to after it's created. You can also double the image and then also combine them down into one layer to increase the overall thickness of the Gauge-on blur, and then you can Gauge-on blur it again. So you have a lot of like different combinations that you can run through if you want to create different ways of creating halo effects. But I just think that it also just increases the overall quality look of thumbnails. But again, it just depends on the situation and the thumbnail that you're trying to create for the project you have. Each thumbnail needs to be taken into consideration for its own artistic design and what you're going for that thumbnail. And that's the fun part of this, guys. Just because you create a thumbnail doesn't mean other people are going to like it. But as long as you like it, that's what really matters. Just remember that. If you look into your YouTube studio and you don't like the thumbnail that you've uploaded, it's always going to bother you. And it's easier to go ahead and create something you enjoy now as opposed to later, because you may not have those reference photos to rely on or lean back on anymore. And then you're kind of up in the air having to create the same project again, or use a photo that really doesn't have anything to do with the project. So you just need to find what meets the needs that you have. So what I've done here now is I'm tinkering with the overall color hue of the Gauge-on blur halo effect, and we're just kind of to see what kind of colors we can come up with, see if there's anything that looks better than that golden color that I created. And I'm not really finding anything that looks great. The purple looks kind of eye-popping, but it's really not what I'm going for this series, because it's supposed to be like more of a sepia style of painting, and I don't think that those neon colors, although they look great, work for this type of project. So I will kind of loop back around the colors, and then I will almost come back to the same golden yellow hue color that I had previously originally set on. Coming back down to that color there, you guys, and then I'm going to zoom out a little bit, zoom in, until I really find that perfect color as it needs to be. We can also increase the saturation to intensify that colors. We can also lower the brightness, and then make it a little bit darker if we need to. using those saturation, hue, as well as brightness to find that perfect medium you are looking for. Looking good, you guys. We're also going to go ahead and select that sketch layer there. We're going to intensify that color a little bit there, but not a whole lot, and it just makes it pop a little bit more. And then we're going to zoom all the way out, zoom all the way in. Make sure you zoom out, guys. This is very important because they may be viewing it on a mobile device, not just always a desktop or a TV, which I'm usually viewing on, but always remember that. So here we are. There's the sketched version, and then we also created a painted version. Look how golden that looks, very eye-popping. It's not as it looks in the real life. Still, there it is with my skin glowing, so you need to find that perfect balance there. You see, this one doesn't have my skin glowing as much. You need to find that perfect balance for what you're looking for. See, there's the original photo. Look how eye-popping it changes when we change the saturation. Saturation is really what this content creation video is about. So if you're here for saturation, yay. If you're not, then hopefully you learned something new or you just had fun watching. We're also going to go ahead and upload this into Canva. Now, this is a pre-created kind of a measured canvas that I have in Canva. And we're just going to add some wording to this. We're just going to add sketching or sketched or something drawing to the thumbnail so that we know that this is what we're doing. We're sketching. We're not painting right now. And what we'll do is we're just going to go ahead and create both of these thumbnails at the same time. And you will be able to find those, all of those videos when they are released. And of course, you'll be able to see those at the very beginning of this video in this individual thumbnail itself. So that may be the thumbnail that you clicked on to take you into this video. But for the most part, all of the thumbnails for this series up until the main landscape painting of all of the brothers in the bridge will remain the same kind of general design. So they're all created the same way, uploading, removing the background, increasing the saturation, and then of course uploading those with a Gaussian blurred halo effect. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check out the playlist listed here if you want to see more of these awesome thumbnail creation videos, and I'll catch you guys on the next awesome video from Byerly Studios. Later, guys.